I'm Vandana Porwal, your host for today's evening, and together, let's make this 10th edition of Evolve a memorable experience for all. Before we start with our today's event, let me brief you about Evolve. Conceptualized in 2014, Evolve began as a multi city and tools required for scaling up their businesses. As we continue to expand across cities, we are proud of the legacy we are building with our partners. Our dedication to MSMEs is built on insights gathered over years. Axis Bank's commercial banking group continues to innovate, delivering best in class banking services tailored to MSMEs. I now invite Mr. Vijay Shetty, President and Head Commercial Banking Group, Axis Bank, to share his thoughts on MSMEs powering the India's trillion-dollar economy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 10th edition of Evolve of Axis Bank. For me, MP is not new. I started my career also in MP in Indore, one of the bank. Their registered office in India in Indore. So it's a nice, very nice place. Nowadays, you have a tag of one of the cleanest city of India. And when I saw in 2001 and today, I can't recognize. Honestly, it's completely developed. Like the word is changed. Evolve we started in 2014. That point of a time, India just evolving, like Viksit Bharat or a Make in India, and that's where bank thought that we should reach out to the MSME across India, understand the problem, and give a solution to them. Today, I think we are reaching, earlier we used to do in the tier 1, tier 2, now we are reaching it to a tier 3 cities also. Now, recently also, we have come up with the Digital Evolve, which what our endeavor is to make sure that reach to the last mile, even in the village, somebody is doing a MSME, how we can make them enabler, understand whatever the benefit they can get as MSME. In India today, I think we are at 4.1 trillion economy. And by 2032 or 2037, there is a range, maybe a 7 to 10, 9 years or 10 years, we will be doubling the number. Imagine the kind of opportunity what we have. And that will happen not by the unicorn, it's by the team, entire partners here, sitting here, we have to make that. And Axis Bank want to be partner in that journey. When you look at when the COVID came, everybody thought, even all the bankers are gone and checked up the stress tests of all the assets. Everyone is worried, saying that was something is not right. Maybe a hotel industry is the most impacted, all the service industries, everyone is impacted. I think it's sometime what happens, COVID is also a lesson for all of us to change and make sure that that change is helping us in terms of the digitization. Maybe the government is also come up with a lot of schemes. That point of a time, they come up with the ECLGS. That help most of the MSMEs. And that is one of the wonderful product for MSME to survive. And that gap in terms of 1 year, 2 years, the banks, everybody supported MSMEs. I think that's one of the reasons most of the MSMEs are survived. Today, banking doesn't mean that it's opening a current account or giving a OD or CC loan. I think banking is come up with a complete circle where they will support in terms of servicing and digitizing the smallest MSME also. In MP, I think almost 44 lakhs of MSMEs are there. In that 44, there are informal MSMEs, formal, micro, small, medium. And Indian GDP, the MP is contributing almost 15 lakh crores of Indian GDP. I think when we grow, when you want to become a 10 trillion, it can be 3 times. And tier 2 cities also becoming an attraction for IT. I think Indore is also one of the attraction for IT industries, which is helping the growth of the state. The employment and women empowerment in terms of the MSMEs, that's also growing. I think today, MSME is not a taboo. Everybody want to start, become a self-employed. Young generations are coming up here. And the banking is also supporting. As a bank, we have a separate vertical for startup. Somebody want to run a business, they want to start up, and we are working very, very closely with the DPIIT team where we can fund the startup customers also. When we started in Axis Bank, MSME is a one tailored, one set of a program, it doesn't work. If the smallest customer, he's having a 10 by 10 shop, he may require a different product. He may not have a balance sheet, but he has a digital print. Today, as an Axis Bank, we can underwrite the customer based on his cash flow or a GST, we can fund up to 5 crores. And also, please remember that in the small startup or the MSME customer, they cannot invest tech or the integration or API integration. As a bank in a current account, we can integrate their accounting process in maybe a Tally or a Zoho, any segment. I think that can help those MSMEs will increase the efficiency of the bank. And also we have the range of product. It is not only a OD or CC in the mid-corporate or the small enterprise group or a MEG. We have a project funding and segment whichever you want. As a bank also, we are targeting a 10 focus sector. It can be a defense, it can be a tourism, it can be a pharma, it can be FMCG. What we are trying to do is that go deep into the details, how we can help and structure the product for the MSME. If I'm giving an example, I'm heading a tourism and hospitality. When I look at it after COVID, the tourism is actually scaled up rapidly. Average key prices are gone up. And in terms of the tier 2 cities, actually their price and the demand is going up. And what we are trying to do there, we are integrating with the fintech companies. If somebody is having a hotel, we can give a technology as well as the product. Also, somebody is constructing a hotel, we can structure the product for them. If you just to give a sense in terms of what kind of a business we are, we have in MSME almost, we have 2.6 lakh crores of business. In the market share, in terms of banking, we have almost 8.4%. If you see that the segment, the micro, small, medium, and the mid-corporate is growing healthy in terms of 26% or 27% CAGR. It's a decent growth when the industry is growing on 11 to 12%. And we are very, very focused. It's not only building the book, it is servicing. What we are trying to do here is, it's not that just to onboard the customer, it's a servicing is also very, very critical. We're almost touching 6,000 branches, where every nook and corner of the cities or the smallest town, where distribution is set up there. This is the type of product. If somebody is startup, running a company or starting the company, and also is going to IPO, we can fund that. We can service them. I think as an Axis Bank, we have multiple products. It's not only a lending, current account, trade, forex, all the segment, your private banking. Everything can come in one roof. As a bank today, I can say that I can fund a 50,000 rupees to a 500 crores. That kind of capabilities and service architectures are built up in this. Axis Bank is not only where the banking partner, where you can also, we'll have multiple subsidiary companies. One of the companies, if you see that, one of the companies, Axis Trustee, if you want to have an account, trust account, that nodal escrow account, they will give a service end to end. And also there is one company called A-Trades. You must have heard. This is one of the subsidiary company. If you are the anchor, your vendor or a seller want to discount the bill, you can be a member in that. More than 250 crore company, government has become mandatory to enroll there. I think any supplier, they can discount the bill. And what happens here is all the government bodies are part of that, so mandatory has to be done, so that within 45 days, you can get the money. And it is a marketplace. It's not only for Axis Bank. Every bank is participating in that. We have Axis Finance, Axis Capital. If somebody want to have IPO, they can help you in terms of what we can do there. The onboarding of a customer, when you are taking a limit or a current account, servicing becomes a very, very, very critical today. Axis Bank mobile app, individual, when I look at it, is one of the best ranked or rated mobile app. and you must have experienced that. We're also come up with the Neo for Corporate, Neo for Access, what we call Neo for Business, Neo for Corporate, and we can integrate your SAP system. In this product, like if somebody earlier when we checked up our banking data, most of the customers walk in when they come for the statements. Today, they can generate, even our RM, when in mobile, he can send the statement directly to the customer. What happens? The whole productivity of our resources as well as the customer increases. Today, digitization is everywhere. There is a concern also. When you digitize fully, the control also we need to have it. Otherwise, we'll have a lot of mule accounts coming into the system. So we need to have a control as well as service. That's our journey, what we are doing it. And down the line, what I foresee, generic AI or the technology, our productivity of MSMEs will improve. As a bank, we are investing heavily on the digital. The productivity of our any asset, whether it's a human asset or the premises, it will help investing in the digitization. The change is important. World is changing very, very fast. MSMEs has to adopt in terms of the digitization. That will help increase the productivity of your business, efficiency of your business. I think we want to be partnered in that. That's one of the reasons today also panelists are there. I'm sure with their insight may be useful for building your business. When you run a business, you create a wealth. That has to be handled. So Axis Bank is having a Burgundy Private, the wealth management, one of the best in the industry, and we have a large asset pool where wealth management is done that, whether it is a banking solution, wealth management, any legal service, or you are in the legacy, or anything, if you are looking at as an organization, as for you, they will help you. Today we have kept our pod outside. You can experience that Neo for Corporate, as also our Burgundy Private teams are there. If you're anybody interested or anyone, any queries, you can reach out to them. I'm sure today's evening will be useful to you. We need your feedback. We need your suggestion. Then only we can grow our business. We can improve our services. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Vijay, for your valuable insights. A dynamic market outlook can significantly impact businesses. Understanding these shifts is very crucial for MSMEs. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Jatan Kumar Shah, Regional Head West Treasury Market Sales, Axis Bank, to share his views on the current market landscape.
It is wonderful to be with the business leaders and the entrepreneurs who run the real economy. I'm Jatan Kumar Shah from Treasury Markets and Sales. So today I'll take you through a two-part presentation. So first part is on tariff and industrial policy. It's a global, we'll run through the global outlook on tariffs and industrial policy. And second, we'll go to the macroeconomics of India. So first on tariffs and industrial policy. Now all of us know that all countries are competing with each other, and whether one agrees or not, the industrial policies are back. For exporters and importers in this room, this is not a temporary headline. It's a structural backdrop of 2026. You can see the pink box in the left-hand side corner. So in that, that is the extra tariffs which has been put on India. We expect, from our internal research, we expect that eventually that tariff of 14.3 billion will go. But it's a short-term pain. And some of the sectors are badly affected, like gems and jewelry, textiles. But some of the sectors, like marine, they have done exceptionally well. Like marines has grown up by 17%. How that has happened is by that they have identified niche areas, FTAs, they've worked on other geographies, and they've grown the exports. Other thing is that there is a steep fall in exports. Now this anomaly has happened because exporters have front-loaded shipments. So there are two learnings for SMEs here. One, we have to work on individual FTAs to grow our business in the difficult market environment. And second is that you have to cover your freight risk. Because there is a front loading or changes in shipment, then your freight can badly get impacted. I recollect 3 years back, there was an agri exporter who said that I'll send my shipment along with other persons so that I have reduced tariff, reduced freight cost. The reason is that most of the agri commodities are bulky export items, and that leads to higher freight cost. 20 years back, China was having a small share of manufacturing, but in 20 years, they have grown to a big manufacturing base. They have about 30% of manufacturing value add. Now, large economies like Eurozone and US did not worry about it because China was in low-end manufacturing, but now they have gone into high-tech manufacturing, and now this all industrial policies are back. Countries want to levy tariffs on each other. So key takeaway for you is that as buyers, you need to diversify your risk. You need to be careful on your paper trail. You have to do documentation so that you can and work on the FTAs so that you can get the maximum out of your business. So US tariffs are almost near to the levels which were seen in 1930s. Now, in 1930s, we know, all of us know it was a Great Depression and economies were struggling for little growth. And for that, some of the countries, about 20 countries, they moved out of the gold standard. And the countries who devalued their currency earliest were fastest to get out of this depression. So the learning is that this is what history taught us, and the learning for everyone is that we can have a currency war. So at present, what is happening is that their tariffs are levied on each other, industrial policies are back, but eventually it can lead to currency war. And again, there is also front-loading behavior in imports. If you see US imports, if you see the right-hand side graph, you can see there are only 4 crises: dot-com crisis, then GFC crisis, COVID crisis, and then the current crisis, in which there is a steep fall in US imports. But in this crisis, the fall is due to large size of front loading of imports. So there is a learning again in this. We need to be ready for the freight risk and the FX risk. We see that tariffs which are announced, and the effective tariff rates are about 18%, but actual tariffs are about 11%. So there is a wedge, there is a difference. The difference comes because of 4 reasons. One, there is transshipment. China, for example, is routing exports through some other countries and getting lower tariffs. There is under-invoicing. Third is the carve-outs. The US government has given exemptions to several items. Recently they have done away with tariffs on agricultural goods. What government is doing? One, government is working on regulatory easing, like about 114 intermediate goods where quality controls was removed. So this is mainly in the area of plastics, chemicals, textiles, and this you as a company, you can look at the input cost, and that will help you in reducing the cost. India, as a government of India, is also working on FTAs with various countries. So once we cover Eurozone, UK, US, all the major economies, then 71% of our trade will be covered. So the basis of FTAs is trade complementary and the large economies. The third part is the manufacturing push, the Atmanirbhar Bharat Nirbhar concept. So government of India has announced about 2 lakh crore of PLI schemes, and we have seen a major transformation in, say, telecom instruments. Once we are net importers, now we have become net exporters. We have created entire manufacturing ecosystem of electronics goods. The PLI push will not only benefit the giants, but also MSME like you. You can identify niche areas and supply to these giants. From the big picture, now we move to macroeconomics of India. The infrastructure push, the digital push, and various other variables like FX rupee, demographics. These are the various projects which are going on. Out of these 3 projects are especially useful to you: Mumbai Harbour Translink, then DMIC, and DFC. So this can significantly impact you. You can reduce your logistic cost. You can reach wider markets and get more money buck for your efforts. One I remember is that entire Morbi ceramic market developed, industry developed after development of Mundra port. So such infrastructure development can significantly change the business outlook for you. Now, this digital infrastructure is not just a buzzword, it also reduces the transaction cost. So there are various ways. UPI settlement reduces the working capital cycle for you. Then OECN is the credit pipes. Then ODNC will help you reach wider markets. These digital rates are useful to you and you need to leverage it. Now, it is expected that slowly our dividend will come down because the society will age, but at the same time, female worker participation is also on the lower side. So once we get females to participate more in the workforce, that will help us reduce the working age. So as of now, it is quite low, around 40%. We can, if that goes up, then it helps. So as an MSME, you can benefit out of it. You can have a woman-only units. We can provide them small assistance so that they work with your organization, and that can help significantly. So this is the chart of rupee. So we have seen in last 6-9 months, I think this is a topic of the town. Rupee has kept on depreciating. And sometimes people feel that RBI is not doing anything, but it's not the case. RBI is continuously intervening. They are trying to intervene in various ways. Sometimes they use a particular level, say 90-20, will not allow rupee to go above 90-20, and they will protect it at any cost. Sometimes they give some targets to PSU banks that you sell $100 million every minute. So they intervene in various ways. But as our RBI governor rightly pointed out, that rupee it depreciates because of various structural reasons. Rupee depreciates by 3 to 4%, and their job is not to change the direction of rupee movement, but to contain the volatility. So we have seen it's our target, it's our analysis that it will go to 92, 94 by March 27. It's not a very steep target, but it's not a prophecy. We, as a treasury sales advisor, we always advise customers to partially hedge your exposures. You need to be at least 50% hedged at all times, and hedge systematically, especially the importers of capital goods. You are running a huge risk if you are not hedging your exposures. So India is doing very well. It is surprising on the upside. Everyone is targeting some growth rate, but we are doing better than others. Even RBI in their assessment is finding that we are over topping their estimates. So recently we showed 8.2% GDP growth. The expectation is another 7+% in next year. And on the top of it, in this year, inflation also has come down. So it's a Goldilocks scenario, as pointed out by our RBI governor. So in summary, that's a big headline, that that's industrial and tariff policy is going to continue. US and China are going to remain in strategic competition. That will affect all countries, when we have to be ready. But there are macro tailwinds on our side, and as a country, we should continue to do well. We should expect that there should be bilateralism. Each country will negotiate with other country, and multilateralism is back. And the government has, there will be tailwinds from government policies.
Thank you, Jatin, for your insightful presentation. MSMEs have evolved into the backbone of Indian economy, contributing to GDP, employment, and regional development. Axis Bank remains deeply committed to supporting this segment with tailoring banking solutions. We are confident that today's panel discussion will offer valuable perspectives on the theme MSMEs powering the India's trillion-dollar economy. The panel will be moderated by Mr. Prashant Srinivas, President and Head, Mid Corporate Group and MEG, Axis Bank. In the conversation with Prashant, we are joined by the 3 dynamic business leaders and valued customers from Indore. each representing the vibrant spirit of MSMEs. Together, we'll explore their entrepreneurial journeys, the evolving landscape of local industries, and the role of innovation in shaping the future. Our first panelist is Mr. Anand Bangar, founder and chairman, Shriji Polymers. Mr. Anand Bangar brings over 30 years of entrepreneurial expertise in manufacturing, finance, and business diversification. A graduate from Sri Ram College of Commerce, he has driven Shriji's global growth with facilities in India, China, and USA, creating over 3,500 jobs. His commitment to innovation and community development has earned him accolades from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President of India. Gaurav Anand is a leading name in India's luxury retail sector. With executive education from London Business School and an MBA in finance from Harvard Business School, he combines global business expertise with his family's strong jewelry legacy, driving strategic growth in luxury and retail. Our third panelist, Shiv Offset India Private Limited. With more than 2 decades of hands-on experience in printing, packaging, production planning, and business operations, he plays a central role in steering the company's strategic growth and operational excellence. Mr. Shadija is known for his disciplined financial management approach, strong vendor and customer relationship, and focus on sustainable business practices. Under his leadership, Shiv Offset has expanded its infrastructure, upgraded several production lines with modern technology, and strengthened its customer portfolio through reliable service and competitive value delivery. We extend a warm welcome to all our panelists. Over to you, Prashant.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This session is about learning practically. I think it's about people who have run businesses, people who have been successful. There's some learning that we can have from each of our customers. And thank you, all of you, for joining us in the evening today. Mr. Bangur, I'll start with you on
Sure.
my first question. To begin with, if you could just share your journey, how it began, and I believe you have, there are a lot of verticals in the business, so if you can just throw some light on that from the start to now.
So basically the journey started in 1983 when I was in my last year of graduation in Sri Ram College of Commerce. My father told me that since you have completed graduation, why not you do your chartered accountancy and then decide about your profession. But then I told him that I want to be in industry and I do not want to waste even 2 years for chartered accountancy. I want to start fast. 83, I came back from Delhi to Ujjain, and within 1 month, I started my first packaging unit there. Initial investment was, say, 2 lakhs of rupees. First year turnover was 15 to 20 lakhs of rupees. And the life was perfectly fine. We were making good money. There was a company called Shree Synthetics in Ujjain, and we were supplier to them. But after 1.5 years, Shree Synthetics faced a labor trouble.
Okay.
So almost they were closed for 3 months. And as they were closed, we were also closed because we were totally dependent on them.
Yeah.
So we decided, why not, I as a head of that company decided, let us diversify and access other customers into different geographies. Yeah. And that was the start of the journey when we grew into our locations, our customer base, and almost every year we added some capacities because we were acquiring customers left, right, and center. And after 4 or 5 years, one of my customer, Dabur India, told me that you are doing so good, why don't you make plastic bottles for us? Yeah. So that was the start of our second vertical into plastics. Started with 4 or 5 machines, and now we have more than 400 machines in that segment. Same way, company called Ranbaxy, they were the first exporter of pharmaceutical products from India to US,
Yeah.
and they were importing all their packaging from US.
Okay.
So one of their managers told me that if you can make those bottles in India,
Yeah.
we will definitely work with you. And that was a challenge, we took it.
Yeah.
And that was the start of Shriji Polymers in India. And now, as they say, rest is history.
Yeah.
We have a presence in more than 20 cities in India and 2 international locations.
Yeah.
And the group, Shriji Polymer is now touching 1,000 crore in turnover.
Fantastic.
So that is the whole journey.
Great, great. I think, my learning from what you said is, adversity to diversity. I think what you thought as a problem kind of took you to the next level. So I think, it's a lesson for every entrepreneur. Mr. Anand, the next one for you. Could you share your story, Anand Jewels and the complete inspiring journey that you've gone through?
So, just a small insight. Sometimes, I have to give this data,
Yeah.
which is important. In Indore, when I started Anand Jewels, we did a survey. How many restaurants are there registered with the VAT department at that time? It was around 1,000 plus.
Sure.
And the jewelers which was registered were 1,500.
Okay.
And there was a saying in Indore at those times that every day there is a restaurant which closes down, but there is no jeweler which closes down.
Yeah.
And the last legacy brand of the Central India region was 50-year plus.
Wow.
So I didn't had anything from that I can learn from them because the era has changed.
Yeah.
It was started in before 1975.
Yeah.
And I was starting in 2015.
Yes.
So I thought, let's forget what others have done. Let's relearn
Yeah.
what the consumer is looking forward for. Times were also changing. Modi
Yes,
government just
yes.
came in,
Yeah.
and we researched on what consumers would love to
Yeah.
buy in such a commoditized industry.
True.
And that too, creating a retail environment.
Yeah.
So I also had a stint in 2011 by opening an Audi car dealership.
Sure.
And that's my another MSME retail business.
Okay.
And there I realized experience plays a major role. And how do I commoditize a commoditized industry which is traditional?
Yeah.
How to modernize it?
Yes.
How to give that level of experience which can be given in the jewelry industry was the key driver.
Yeah.
And also market it well in a very tough competitive business, which has so many players to do.
True.
And the last brand which was born in the region was more than 50 years old.
Yeah.
And everybody in my trade said that you're going to take 2 decades, 3 decades, at least one generation to make that happen. And my dad said, you don't have time because you're trying to make the largest brand on day one.
Yeah.
So that was the challenge,
Yeah.
and that is what we faced. And I feel we were lucky with the customers, and that made it happen.
No, that's very true. Traditionally the business that you run is of legacy.
Yes.
Somebody's grandfather started it, and
Yeah.
it's probably the 3rd or the 4th generation running the business.
Yes,
and
that's how
and
it is.
it's very heartening to see that a first generation business starting and coming to the level that you've come.
Sure.
Very heartening.
Thank
you.
Thank
Jitin, coming to you, share your story of association with Shiv Offset and I think second generation. So I'd like to know, in most of our businesses, second and third generations have started coming to the business. So what challenges, Of course, the first generation would have run it differently. You have a different thought. So how does it all go?
The best part was I joined my business at the age of 16.
Okay.
I was just seeing my father, he was being shifted from utensils manufacturing to the packaging industry. And he was like facing many challenges because packaging industry was something organized sector and the metal manufacturing was completely unorganized.
Sure.
So since 2001 to 2008, we struggled to work for the domestic industry. 2008, we got some of the things like income tax rates and something that taught us the value of the white capital.
Yeah.
And that's the role Axis Bank started.
Yeah.
I'm the member of Axis Bank since 2008.
Wow,
So it's
thank
been
you.
almost 17 years I've been
Yeah.
associated with the bank.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's a long journey, and the best part is we never changed the bank in this years. So 2008, we started with single multinational. As sir told, Ranbaxy
Yeah.
was also my client. The
Yeah.
same time we started with Ranbaxy. Then we decided to work for the quality.
Yeah.
And we were the first printer in India to import the machine from Kamuri Corporation.
Okay.
Kamuri Corporation was a brand who was doing the currency printing throughout the global.
Okay.
So some of guys told that you have taken a wrong decision to be in an industry. Heidelberg is the machine, but we took a risk of growing. Then slowly we have grown, and starting from the first year turnover, from 16 lakh we started. Now we have all the branches, we are into real estate, we are into hotels and many more things to do.
Good. And thanks for being a loyal customer of the bank, and we will also try and, be on our toes to ensure that you continue to bank with us. Yeah. Mr. Mangur, back to you. I think, you've been in this location for a long time. I think post coming from your Shriram College of Commerce. So what are the 3 opportunities for MSMEs you see in Madhya Pradesh and, to scale MSMEs in the state?
I see a complete change in the approach of the government towards industry in last 2 years in MP.
Sure.
The focus is that yes, government needs revenue.
Yeah.
So where from the revenues are going to come?
Yeah.
The only thing which can bring revenues to the government is the industry,
Yeah.
because they have to spend so much of money on their social activities.
True.
So I feel MP is a very good place, logistically situated. Government policies are very positive. And I feel the 3 sectors which can really, any budding entrepreneur can enter into. One is food processing.
Okay.
MP is at the forefront of grain production. In last 15 years, they have got the Krishi Karman Award.
Sure.
But most of the processing is done out of MP.
Yeah.
So now I feel if people come forward for food processing, that's a great sector.
Yeah.
Then the second sector is definitely packaging, which I am already working in. As the economy grows, the use of packaging grows very
absolutely.
fast.
Absolutely.
So you get a multiplier effect in this industry.
Yeah.
If say maybe economy is growing by 7%, then packaging industry will grow by 12 to 14%. So that is very, very lucrative to me.
Yeah.
And third sector, I feel textile is a great sector for MP.
Sure.
Because MP government has come out with policies, with incentives, which are best in the class in whole of India.
Fantastic.
So anybody who's trying to enter into textile, and if you study the policies of the government, you'll feel that this is one of the best policies, and that will support you for this.
Sure.
And plus, internationally, I feel garmenting and textile business will grow exponentially for India, because Bangladesh as a competitor is going down. India has better opportunities for that.
True, agree completely. I think as a bank also, we need to come up with customized solution, I think specific to these industries if we see these industries growing. Mr. Anand, back to you. I think if you could share about your strategies of transforming a traditional business into a modern customer-centric model.
So, it's about, I feel, any innovation, the birth happens from the consumer, because that's where the money lies. And if you can't do or give anything to your customer, or create an environment, or create some services or
It's a
product.
tough business, like you said, it's commoditized.
It's a commoditized
and
business,
it's an
just like
experience.
banking.
Yeah.
Just like banking, it's a commoditized business. But still, innovation is there, and that's what is happening. Like recently, my younger generation came into picture, and we were talking as a family that India is going from 3 trillion to 10 trillion, as the board says. And so I said, it's not going to happen with people like me. Maybe we reach from 3 to 6, but you guys are going to take that leap of that 4 trillion additional market which India is focusing on. And then we started Ish by Anand, and which is a new generation brand that we created. And it's doing fantastic in its segment of modern jewelry, wearable jewelry. And the customers are changing. If you don't measure your customer, if you don't focus that the world is changing constantly, that's something which is a given. And you don't create innovation in creating the services and products for them, then this 10 trillion cannot happen.
True.
And if you do that, then maybe we beat this 10 trillion to 15 or 20. That's how.
Always, you energize me by saying such a difficult business, but you keep talking about customer centricity and trying to be ahead of the rest.
Curve. That's the thing.
Jiten, coming to you, how can MSMEs embrace technology? It plays a very important role today to be, in the forefront if you're not digitally active, then, it becomes tough for the MSMEs.
Correct. If you're not digitally active, like you will be out of the market completely, because in the generation of AI, the things which my father were doing in 3 hours, I'm doing in 1 hour, and my kids are still doing in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
My daughter asks me why you're sending me to school. I just say to enjoy.
Yeah.
There's no other reason going to school, because every projects they're completing in 2-3 minutes. The same we are doing at our units. We have come up with the ERP. We have come with the accounting automation, billing automation, and that's the only thing through the digital technology you can grow globally.
Yeah.
Like I'm working for more than 85 languages. We are doing export, deemed export. So digitally presence, and the presence on social media, everybody is wasting time to just see the reels and everything. But everybody should concentrate to grow business on social media, not only to see the reels and all the stupid videos going on nowadays.
Yeah.
So you have to divide your business into 2 parts. One is your finance and second is your operations.
Yeah.
And this both part is very much important. You cannot leave any of the subjects. See, if the operation is going well, the finance has to control the operations. You have to see what digitalization we have to go, how much sales you are achieving. And nowadays what I've seen, everybody is running on a top line.
Yeah.
मुझे इतना turnover करना है, मेरे friend का ये है, मेरे See, you should never work on a top line. You should always work on a bottom line. What profit you are getting and what profit you are taking at home. Just earning a profit, reinvesting in the same industry and just going in a running and running like anything. That doesn't matter nowadays. Matter is what life you are achieving, what digitalization use you have done, how much time you are giving to your family. This actually matters. And next generation, the best part is few of the parents are guiding their kids to go into social networking. Like Roundtable is one of the associate webinars. So this is also a very good important part that you should be doing some social activity. The best part, what my father I see is, he never said कि तू कुछ मत कर. You have to take a risk. He never said तू कर, गलत होगा, we'll see it what will happen. So these are the 2 things. Now generation is getting changed many times. We get into argue with my parents कि ये सही है ये गलत, because see what happened, my generation thinking is something different. But what we have to do, conclude, relax and get the results after that. Do not take at time decision कि ये मेरे पापा ने बोला, ये मैंने बोला, it's completely different. Do not get into that argument, just settle down little later. So business will be automatically growing on.
Completely agree. I think the takeaway for me is being bottom line driven, what I call money in the bank. That's what matters to us also, Mr. Bangur, back to you. What are the challenges you see in today's MSMEs in terms of scaling? As a bank, we always want to contribute as much as possible to get this sector ahead and want to be a key player in this space. Whether it's access to capital, technology adoption, what do you think is a challenge for MSMEs today?
Actually, we are working in a world which is very fast changing.
Yeah.
So same with technology. Technology keeps changing every 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
Earlier it used to be at least 15 to 20 years you were sticking to one technology and you can continue for that. But now it is changing so fast. And for fast changing technology you need capital. Because you need continuous investment, continuous upgradation. So I definitely feel these 2 are the major factors for anybody to scale up their business and really expand it. But how can you do that? How can you achieve that? Because unless, as he just said, that you ultimately it is the bottom line which is driving your business. So you have to make sure that you are making enough money, you are generating your own capital for redeploying in the business, and at the same time you are managing that funds for better technologies which are available across the world right this time.
True. I think access to capital completely is a key aspect for MSMEs. I think, Vijay covered in terms of what we are doing as a bank. I think we should probably do more like the challenges that you said. Yeah. Mr. Anand, back to you. What's your advice to MSMEs entering new markets? Like, you started a completely new business and that's where the question comes to you.
So we did new markets in Chhattisgarh and we added in Bhopal as well in the last 10 years of our journey. And we also added this vertical. I feel new market is all research that you do on the consumer insight. And also in the times which we are living right now in India, it's easy time to enter into any other market. But the only challenge what I feel, because I've been talking to peers as well, why didn't you expand and why didn't you enter, is fears. 3 fears what everybody faces in expanding or taking that leap of faith. Yes, I can expand. one definitely capital is there, and
Yeah.
but then that's still available, and we are with such a good bankers.
Yeah.
They can take that calls. The next big challenge is the HR.
Yeah.
That if you have the human resources to handle it,
Sure.
but that's the fear of an MSME, that my business is not that large, I'm not a national network or a
Yeah.
regional network, मेरे पास आदमी कहाँ से आएगा, and if I open a branch 800 kilometers away,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go over there, and then how things are going to be managed.
Yeah.
So just to tell you, we are managing maybe lakhs of SKUs, which are all precious products,
Yeah.
and it's being managed.
Yeah.
It's about adding technology to
Yeah,
things, having a very robust accounting softwares and inventory management in our case, and HR policies in place where you are able to attract the industry HR who can take you to the next level. So just to give you one important insight that's important for everybody else, if you are an MSME, there would be thousands and thousands of SMEs as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
There are small players.
Yeah.
There are failures in the market. So if you hire a restaurant manager who owns a restaurant and who has closed down a restaurant, he's the best manager to have.
True.
So likewise, there are a lot of jewelers which couldn't grow or couldn't make into the market, or they had some speculative transaction, they were out of the market. So we are hiring those people,
Sure.
taking us into the other market. So we have some industry insight before we reach
Yeah,
a market.
yeah.
So I feel if capital is solved, HR is solved, the rest, the country is so vibrant right now, anybody can go enter anywhere.
True.
It's easy.
True. My takeaway from this is failure is the best teacher. I guess, that's what you're following. Jatin, back to you. It's a hot topic. What's your view on SME IPOs? Do you believe going public is a good strategy for MSMEs?
That's a tricky question. It completely depends on which industry you are and actually what you want to do it. If you just want to take a ISM IPO and run the same business, I think that's of no use to you. But if you want to grow, you have orders, you have plans, you have expansions plans, and your next generation is ready to do the business,
Yeah.
then you should definitely go for the IPOs. But that's the single platform for the long-term capital you get it. All the organized sector has going now into IPOs only. So definitely, if you are in an organized sector and you don't have a mindset कि मुझे सिर्फ public का पैसा use करना है,
Yeah.
you should definitely go for the IPOs.
Sure, good. Mr. Bangur, the last but one question. What's your view on the recent tariffs? I think Jatin kind of spoke about it a little, and government reforms that have impacted the manufacturing sector and the MSMEs.
Tariff is an artificial barrier created to hinder exports from India.
Yeah.
And especially since we, as a country, are a big exporter of goods and services to US,
Yeah,
that has impacted us very adversely.
yeah,
Earlier we were thinking that this matter will be solved maybe over 1 or 2 months,
Yeah.
but now this is stretched beyond 6 months now.
true,
And this is really hurting.
sure.
What I really appreciate about India is that Indians, they find opportunities in adversities. So now we have found out new markets, whether it is European Union, UK, or rest of the world. And if you see the numbers of what India is exporting, it is also going up.
Yeah.
So in spite of the fact that US is not importing from us in a big way, almost 50% curtailment in US exports, but still our exports are growing.
Yeah,
So what I feel that post resolution of this tariff thing,
Yeah.
which I feel maybe round the corner,
yeah,
next maximum 1 month we will
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
resolution to this. And now since we have additional market with us
Yeah.
and US on our plate, so I feel next 5 years will be really good for India.
fantastic.
We will be firing on all cylinders because we will have US as a market and rest of the world as a market.
Sure.
And we can really pose an alternative to China as a manufacturing giant.
Yeah,
That is my opinion.
completely agree. Yeah, yeah.
So I would like to say something in
Yeah,
between.
please.
Being in a SME, we an MSME, we have a doubt कि we don't work on the systems. SOPs, STP, many of the business you go, you don't have systems. Whatever mistake is in the industry, वो दो ही कारण से होता है. मुझे लगा and मैंने सोचा.
जी.
What I tell to my team, न तुमको लगना चाहिए,
Yeah.
न तुमको सोचना है.
Yeah.
Just work on the system given by the company.
True,
So that's the single point you can stop the losses in your industry.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree.
I missed out on your second part of the question, which was on the government policies.
Yeah.
So I think everybody in this hall will agree with me that last 10 years have been really good as far as government policies are considered
True.
for at the level of central government.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is income tax, whether it is excise,
Yeah.
or which is now GST
Yes.
or customs.
Yeah.
We have had the best of the policies enacted by the government.
True.
Now everything is digitized. You know, we don't have to go to the department for our assessments or our regular work. It is all digital. There is no human interface. What I feel is the government needs to take it forward, needs to do some more reforms which will bring India to the forefront of manufacturing. As our Prime Minister has said that India needs to be at least 25% GDP should come from manufacturing. So that is
Absolutely.
possible
Absolutely.
only when you do such reforms in a big way.
Yeah, yeah. I think the drive of Make in India is all about that, wanting to be the third largest economy, and hopefully people in this hall will help us take it there. Yeah. Mr. Anand, your words of wisdom for aspiring entrepreneurs looking to build sustainable and resilient businesses.
I feel finance is a key, and I've been teaching my younger generation who's recently joined that you need to have, and that's what I studied in various courses I did. If you can predict the next quarter's
P&L.
revenue and a P&L, and on daily basis, whatever decision we take, which is a financial decision, whether to do an expense or not, or whether to change some policies or not, has to be authenticated from that P&L sheet.
Yeah.
And that is what I have been doing
Yeah.
from last 10 years. So there's a sheet which I update on a daily basis, which is like an MIS of the finance of the company. And finance doesn't mean money. Finance means the top line and the bottom line and all the parameters of the variable and the fixed costs. So that has given me such big freedom of taking decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes people feel that I take irrational decisions, but they are based on those Excels.
True.
So I feel that is a key takeaway for anyone.
Yeah.
Create your own Excel, your own MIS. What can be your variable cost? What can you be your fixed cost?
Yeah.
And any decision you take, please check it on that sheet.
Yeah.
Put it over there. See the implication of the next quarter or the next financial year. What's that implication is going to happen? Whether it's a fixed cost that you are adding or a variable cost you want to take a call on. If you are able to do that continuously for thousands of times, I feel the master supercomputer is with you already.
Completely. So probably everyone should have a daily P&L कि रोज गल्ला बंद करने से पहले देखो कि फायदा नुकसान कितना हुआ.
लोगों के पास पैसे का हिसाब जरूर होता है, बट लोगों को ये नहीं पता होता कि आज की मेरी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट और वेरिएबल या फिक्स कॉस्ट क्या थी और आज का मेरा P&L क्या डेवलप हुआ और उसमें जीपी मार्जिन कहाँ से आया और कहाँ नहीं आया. So it can be measured with your plan and current scenario.
Jitin, your last words to the
I would
entire
just like
audience.
to say everybody should have minimum 5-year plans.
Yeah.
You will be shocked to listen if you visit any company in Japan, they have 50 years plan. So being at least 5-year plans, take the risk, put everything on books. Cash market is out, सबको बुक्स में लाओ. टैक्स देना है, जीएसटी देना है, ये बहुत डर नेक्स्ट जनरेशन में है स्मॉल बिजनेस में कि हम सब बुक्स में लाएंगे, पहले नहीं लाते थे, अब लाएंगे तो क्या होगा. अरे गवर्नमेंट इज देयर, यू आर पेइंग द टैक्स, यू आर ग्रोइंग योर टैक्स, सो देयर इज नो इशू ब्रिंगिंग एवरीथिंग ऑन अ बुक्स. ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी कैन ओनली कम व्हेन इट कम्स ऑन अ बुक्स.
Agree.
ठीक है, इट इज स्पॉइलिंग हिज बिजनेस. गोल्ड हर कोई कैश में लेता है, so that is also a good thing. I was the first person.
Such a big business.
I just saw a gentleman praising his wife to buy the gold. कि अगर तू नहीं लेती तो आज डबल नहीं हुआ होता. So it's about the planning. You should plan your business. And practically, if somebody says me, मेरा slag market है, तो मैं उसको थोड़ी weird नजर से देखता हूँ. India being such a big industry, तू इतना सा बनाता है इंडिया के सामने, तेरा slag market कैसे होगा? So it's about taking a risk. There is no slag market throughout the 365 days.
Thank you, Jitin. Mr. Bangur, your final words to the audience.
My take for future business is that a business has to be sustainable. And sustainable in what way? In both socially and economically.
Fantastic.
How you make business sustainable socially? By sticking to green energy, green initiatives, green initiatives in your factory, in
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah.
So that will make you eligible to export to the world.
Yeah.
Because unless you are sustainable to the environment,
Yeah.
Western countries are not going to buy from you.
Yeah, yeah.
So ultimately, if you want to create a business, you have to see that yes, it is environmentally sustainable.
True.
How do you make your business grow from a SME to a large company?
Yeah.
5 crore would be available without collateral guarantee
Yeah.
from the bank.
Yeah.
But if you want to really make it big,
Yeah.
then ultimately you have to generate money in your business.
True.
So that you are able to have that kind of capital to bring your company to a larger scale
Yeah.
for a multiple expansion.
True.
So ultimately the bottom line has to be created.
Yeah.
That is the best part. If you want to really grow your business from a SME to a large unit, the capital has to come from within.
Sure.
That is my take.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant, Mr. Bangar, Mr. Anand, and Mr. Sudhija for an engaging and insightful session. I now invite Mr. Ranjit to deliver the vote of thanks and formally conclude this wonderful evening.
Any improvement, any change, that is called evolve. So, as Vijay Sethi sir had said, he started his career in 2001 from Indore. I started my career, not started career, at least I worked in Indore between 2007 to 2011. From that period and as on day, I see the various changes in infrastructure, various changes in financial sector, various changes in the mindset of the customer. I really remember the CEO offset, Mr. Jiten Sadija. I used to see the balance sheets. I was journalist at that point of time, in 2007 or 2008. At that point of time, we had struggled to make the customer understand why your balance sheet is like that, why you are not paying the taxes, why you are not improving the balance sheets and financials for your own sake of benefit. It took a lot of struggle. It took a lot of efforts. My old colleagues are also here. So that is called evolve. आज के दिन में मैं देखता हूँ, the customer has understood the things very well. Financial market has evolved and multiplied to various levels, 4, 5 times, 6 times. Like this, our motive of this Indian economy to grow 10 trillion by 2032. With such kind of evolve, with such kind of development, I don't think there will be any kind of challenges. We cannot reach 10 trillion by 2032. आप लोगों ने टाइम निकाला, आप लोग आए. It was really very precious moment for us, and it's heartfelt thanks to our all speakers also for their insightful discussion and the presentation. We now going to conclude this journey here.